What's up, guys? Welcome back to another week of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with your host, me. This week, we have a very special guest, probably the most important person in the world to me, my wife, Antonette Russo, or Antonette Medved, now that we're married, almost a year now. But I wanted to have Antonette on because a big thing about our relationship is, spooky stuff, Halloween type stuff, anything to do with fall. And, that's just always something that we always look forward to every year. The month of October, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to try to curate my guests to be all Halloween, spooky, horror-related type guests. So people that do different things that have to do with the spirit of Halloween. So Antonette has been on before. For anyone who listens to the podcast, you kind of know that my I guess you would call it template is, I talk to people about how they came up and like why they are who they are. But Antonette has already been on. She's episode 13 if you haven't listened yet. So we kind of like talked about all that before. But this podcast, I kind of just wanted to, it's a little bit shorter. I kind of wanted to just talk about Halloween and why we both love it and why it means a lot to us. So this episode, we kind of just go over, some cool shit we used to do whenever we were younger, how our parents kind of got us into Halloween and, some different haunted houses we love, some different things about Halloween that we love. And, I just had a fun conversation with her. We kind of jump around a little bit just because, there's so much cool shit to talk about with Halloween. I was just kind of bringing up anything that popped into my head. But, yeah, it's a good episode, and I'm really excited for the upcoming weeks, and I think you guys will be too. I have some very, very good guests coming up. So, yeah, enjoy this episode. Like I said, this is a special week. It's kind of a little bit different than what I do, so deal with it. But without further ado, episode number 38 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with my wife, Antonette Medved.
I gotta use the telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast. All right, before we get into it, what's in the cup?
What's in the cup?
Today it's Great Lakes Brewing Company's Oktoberfest. Seasonal beer, yep.
Jeez, fits the theme
It's
of the
appropriate.
podcast. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
appropriate. I think you're the first person to have a beer on the podcast.
A beer, I think so. Did I can't remember if I was drinking vodka on the last one.
I think that you
No,
drank.
I was drinking Gatorade because I was hungover.
Yeah, because the day before you were pretty drunk, and then we tried to record one, and then we started over because you were a little bit too drunk,
Yeah,
and then you were hungover, so you switched your Gatorade.
yep.
Yeah, you're a drinker.
I'm
Why do you think that
heavy
I didn't
drinker.
want you to have alcohol in here? You said that I don't want you to drink during the podcast. I never said that.
Yeah, huh?
I just don't want you to get all fucked up because
I
you get all
won't, off of
loopy
one
and
beer.
you get all start firing off at the mouth.
Well, it's a little easier to talk whenever, it's that liquid courage.
What, you're nervous talking to me?
No. But I feel like more ideas just flow out of my brain whenever I've had a couple. Not like overdo it. Like when I've had a couple.
Yeah, you could definitely overdo it though.
Oh, I've been known to
Been known
overdo it.
To overindulge.
Yeah, ask Dylan.
Yeah, ask Dylan. So Great Lakes Oktoberfest. It's
Great
just-
Lakes is my favorite brewing company.
Yeah, it tastes like trash.
It doesn't.
Tastes like a barrel was just sitting in the desert filled with rainwater, and it just sat there for months.
Nope.
Someone just poured some garbage in it and then they bottled it. That's what all
because
that.
you don't like beer.
Yeah, it's just not for me. So, babe, you're the first person to ever come back on the podcast. You're the first reoccurring guest. Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Thanks. Mostly it's convenience because I live here.
Yeah, you live here. This is way better because, like, we don't have to, like, I don't have to clean the house up or...
Nope, just a regular ass night.
Have to cater to people.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. Like, I enjoy having people come over. It's a little bit less stressful for me than it is for you. You just assume that the house is, like, a fucking mess all the time.
It's a living nightmare at any given time.
Yeah. For you. We grew up in very different lives.
Yeah. Why don't you talk about visiting my mom's house the past weekend?
Oh, yeah. So this past weekend, we went to a wedding, and we had the pleasure of staying in Antonette's childhood home with her mother. And
my father, but he just is there.
Yeah,
Poor
he just
guy.
chills. He's just very, very relaxed. But your mother is like I don't know what she is, but she's...
An acquired taste, I would say.
That's a real good way to describe it. Her house is, like, I went into the bathroom to get a shower the one morning, and I made it a point to look around, like, behind the toilets and
For dirt.
And in the corners and, like, the corner of the shower, because if you look in our shower, there's, like, fucking random hair because you just shed all day.
Like a dog.
Yeah, but there's nothing in your mom's house. She has to be cleaning every single day.
No, because as you recall, the morning after we woke up, the day after the wedding, you heard her blowing her hair dry in the basement. And that was strictly to avoid getting hair on the floor in her bathroom.
What's up with you doing that?
I'm not going to the basement to dry my hair.
What about on the porch or something?
I ain't doing that either.
Yeah, so we just got to deal with your shit everywhere.
Absolutely.
That's all right, though.
I try to clean it up, but then I take another shower, and then there's like another clump.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I don't clean up that much, but
Oh, we know.
yeah. I just think it's different. We have different views at everything. Like, you see
We
life
do,
through a
and-
different lens. And my
Right.
lens is definitely different than yours. And that strictly comes from growing up in different households. My mother's clean was way different than your mother's clean.
And like, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that, but like, I'm trying to train you to be better, and you have been better.
Yeah.
You've definitely gotten better with throwing clothes on the floor and things of that nature. I mean, you still do it,
Yeah.
but it's not as bad.
So I mean, let's come full circle with it. We're rolling into about to be a year together, a year married. Been together for like 5 years, but about to be married for a year.
I think before we roll into it, we should pause and reflect on L1 and L2 clean, right?
Do you want to get into that right now?
I do want to get into that.
All right. L1 and L2 clean. Antonette's talking about this. So the other day, Antonette was, she just has she has like a tick that if I wear a shirt and I take it off, it's just, it's like she has like an alarm set. She immediately grabs it and just throws it in the washer. And the shit ain't dirty. Like,
Now,
it's not.
here's my thing with that, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
You wear a
Explain
shirt, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not necessarily be dirty. You could probably wear it another day.
Yep.
But this is what's going on in your mind. This is not anything that I've constructed.
Yeah, this is
So this
all
is
me.
what I've learned recently about you, right? And you just told me this.
Go ahead, try to explain it, but you're going to fuck it up.
I am. So in your head, there's a few different types of clean, right? So there's L1, level 1 clean,
Yep.
which would mean like we just washed the clothes, they're fresh out of the dryer, fold them, put them away in the drawer, hang them up on the hangers. Okay, fine. So then we go ahead and wear that shirt for a day.
Yep.
And
One
it's
day.
not necessarily-
For instance, maybe going to like the mall or something.
Okay.
So nothing to make that shirt smell or be stained in any way. Just one quick night out if I have to, go somewhere for a couple hours and come home.
Okay.
Okay?
So then after you've worn it for those couple hours, it becomes L2 clean.
L2, level 2 clean.
Level 2 clean.
Yep.
So we don't have a place for level 2 clean, right? Because
There's a couple places.
It's still too dirty to put back on a hanger or put back in a drawer.
Yeah.
So where do we put
Depends.
it? So where do we put it when it's level 2 clean?
Wherever. There's a couple places.
Like the floor.
Mostly the floor.
Yeah.
Or hung over the clothes rack. Not necessarily hung up.
No.
But just laid over the clothes rack.
Right. And when I see that, immediately to me, I know that I had washed it previously.
Yeah.
And I know that it had been worn because it might have some wrinkles in it a little bit. Mm-hmm. So that means it goes in the laundry basket because
To you.
once you wear it, it is dirty.
To you.
If that's the way you want to live your life.
Listen to me. For everyone out there listening, do you agree with me that if I have a nice shirt, usually if you have nice shirts that you have, might be more of an expensive shirt or one of your favorite shirts, the more you fucking wash it, the more it gets destroyed and weathered over time. So, for instance, I have one of my favorite t-shirts ever. It has a picture of Travis Bickle on it. Do you know what that is? Travis
No.
Bickle? It's that one with Robert De Niro, like pretending to shoot himself in the head with
And
blood
you're
all
about
over
to
his
blame
face.
me for ruining it.
Definitely wasn't me, but I wear it one time, and it's one of my favorite shirts, so I like to wear it, and I tend to overwear it. But if I wear it once, I definitely don't just toss it in the washer. But Antonette just gotta toss it in there, and immediately once it's off, got to be washed. So the graphic cracks a little bit. So my logic over the years is, even before I was with Antonette. Let's say I take this shirt and I wash it in a washer, and it comes out. That's level 1 clean. That's pristine. You're good to hang it up on the hanger, and that thing is ready to roll. Now, let's say I take that and I wear it to, let's say we go to the mall. Okay, just run up to the mall. 2 hours, maybe 3 hours at the max. Didn't eat nothing. Didn't go into any restaurants or anything. That thing, whenever I come home. Sometimes they're level 1 clean. Depends on how long. Usually after 2-3 hours, it tends to get a little bit stretched out, and you can tell that it's been worn.
But even so, at that point, you don't hang it back up. You throw it somewhere that it does not belong.
Yeah.
So in my mind, once it
that's
hits
level
the floor, level 2 clean equals dirty. There is no such thing as level 2 clean.
There is.
If it's not clean enough to go back on the hanger or in the drawer, it's dirty.
That's wrong. That's the
All
wrong
right.
way.
I think after this podcast, we should put a poll out on Facebook and see what people think.
Anyway, level 2 clean is, for instance, a shirt that might not have a stain, might not have a smell, but could also be worn again for a different occasion. And I have level 1s and level 2s, and then I have level 3s, which are say you got a stain on it.
Level 3 sounds to me like it would just get up and walk on its own.
No. Level 3 is the shit that is, let's say you go to a bar.
That's not even clean anymore. You can't even
exactly.
call it level 3 clean.
A level 3 clean means it's dirty.
Yeah, exactly.
That's whenever it's allowed to be washed. But yeah, so that's my logic with levels.
If there's any wives listening to this podcast, they're about to probably have a heart attack listening to you talk about this.
I don't know. To be fair, I've never once asked you to wash my clothes. I grew up doing that myself because my mother would
And I
fuck
saw
up
how
my
that
laundry.
worked out at your house.
Yeah, well, at my house, whenever
Anybody
I had a
who
room,
knew you, in high school and stuff, knew what your bedroom looked like.
I had piles of clothes around, but they were,
Piles of L1s and L2s.
Exactly. And then there was just the random pile that was just for rainy days, some random shit in there, like a Slipknot t-shirt or something like that I would only wear for a special occasion. Now I have a drawer designated for that. I got my Halloween shirts in there. I got my holiday theme shirts. I got stuff that I might not wear all the time, maybe once a year, but I have that set aside. But, that's just the way it goes on in my head. I don't need you to wash everything immediately. But I don't know. So that's one thing that we've came to the conclusion with a year of being married.
Yeah, and I feel like if we keep talking about it, we're gonna start arguing about it.
Why, you're getting upset?
Oh yeah.
All right. Okay, so level 2 clean. level 1 clean. That's just what goes on in my mind. But I'm sure other people out there probably have a similar thought process of it. But now, what the fuck? Your hair is everywhere. Like, your hair is everywhere. And listen, you want to get into it? You want to get into the marriage shit? This is where I don't understand. Okay. For instance, you come home and you feel like cleaning one day. You come home and you say, come on, we got to clean. And everything just, the ball gets going and we have to do all this shit because you feel like cleaning.
Right. Because let me ask you something. When has there ever in our year of marriage or 5 years of being together or 3 years of living together, when have you ever come home and said, let's get the ball rolling?
Sometimes.
Oh, big goose egg, right?
No.
Big 0 times.
No.
Right. So if somebody doesn't do it, then nobody does it. Which answers your question about, you said, I never asked you to do my laundry, right? If somebody doesn't do it, it's never going to get done.
That is false.
It is not false.
That is a false statement. But anyway, in a year that we have been technically married, I feel that nothing really has changed because we've lived together for 4 years before. The only thing that changed is we were more in debt because we decided to have somewhat of a bigger wedding. Finally about to pay that shit off, so keep painting faces. Anyway, I do enjoy being married.
Oh, I love being married to you. You're out of your mind, but I love you.
You're not the most calm person either. But the thing that I was getting at is, whenever women, I feel, decide that they want to do something, it has to be done.
Absolutely.
But if you come home and you feel sick and you just feel like being lazy one day, nothing has to be done.
You're right.
Yeah, why is that?
That's because it was done the last time I freaked out about it.
No, babe. That's not right. You come home, and if you feel like doing something, everyone has to do it at that second. But
everyone meaning you.
Yeah. But if you come home and you are just like, I don't feel like doing that today, it's fine. So if I come home and say, I don't feel like doing that today, and you feel opposite, automatically the scale has to go towards your side. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I don't know that you're looking at this logically, because it is not that often that I come home and freak out and I'm like, we need to do this right now. It is not. He's giving me the biggest eyes right now, but it is not that often. So to say that, okay, so of that, let's say 4 or 5 times a year, it is not that often that I freak out like that.
4 or 5 times a year? That's it?
Yes.
Anyway,
I don't do it that often.
Anyway, this podcast...
Of those times, then you should be rearing to go and start cleaning up with me, because they're out of those 5 times, not a single time out of the year did you say that we need to clean the house. Not a single time.
Anyway, this podcast is going to be a horror themed. So October's coming up, our favorite month of the year. Me and Antonette both love fall. And, my plan for this month of October is I'm going to have guests that are all Halloween / spooky / horror / fall related. So I got some plans of different guests, different types of guests that have to do with the Halloween spirit, or the Halloween spirit, I guess, in the spirit of Halloween. So yeah, that's my plan, and I wanted to have you on to kick off everything, because you're pretty into Halloween and everything like that. That's like a big part of our life.
Yeah.
We've had our Halloween decorations up for what, 3 weeks now, 4 weeks.
Yeah, since September 1st.
September 1st, we decided to break out the Halloween decorations because, I like to look around and I like to see jack-o'-lanterns and orange lights. And
it was still like 90 degrees outside.
Yeah, sweating to death putting up all this shit. But I enjoy Halloween. How long have you enjoyed Halloween?
My entire life.
Now, I walked into your parents' house this weekend, and I saw a picture of you dressed as a witch.
Yeah.
Whenever
I was a kid, I alternated costumes every year. It was either a princess or a witch. Never anything else. I never wanted to be anything else.
How many years in a row you think?
Probably like 4 or 5.
4 or 5 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you think you got into Halloween?
My mother, 100%.
Now, your mother is, I would say she's like, her house doesn't seem to be the Halloween fanatic types house.
Right, because she's like religious and like
Anal.
Really,
she's anal
and,
about being clean and having clutter
well, yeah,
and
but
things
I mean,
like that.
when Halloween comes around, like she does not. I mean, she'll deck everything out in decorations, inside and out. Like she'll do the front yard and stuff. I mean, it's not like crazy like some people, but she does it nice. Like she has very tasteful decorations.
Yeah, you could say that. Tasteful decorations. Was your dad real big into Halloween, or was he just kind of along for the ride?
He was always along for the ride on that stuff.
Yeah, women drive that car, huh?
Yep, usually.
Yeah. Happy wife, happy life, right?
Yep.
So we put up our Halloween decorations, which I'm a very big fan of. I got into Halloween from my mother, I think, as well. My mother always took me and my brother to, haunted houses. Anytime there was trick-or-treating, she had us decked out. I've won Halloween competitions, like costume competitions. She used to have us dressed as all kinds of cool shit.
Yeah, like when she dressed you as a girl when you were a baby, because you kind of looked like a girl.
I definitely did. Long white hair, and people thought that I was a girl. And yeah, people thought that I was actually a girl. They thought that I was not dressed up, but turns out I was.
Which is like ironic because
now I don't. Look
nobody's
like a girl.
mistaken you for a girl now.
Yeah, that's very presumptuous of you in this progressive world we live in.
I'm married to you.
I'm non-binary, babe. So
okay.
Anyway, so what was your first memories of trick-or-treating?
Probably everybody's first memories of trick-or-treating, like your mom forcing you to put a jacket over your costume and then you crying because it was like you wanted your costume to be seen, but it was like cold and raining. And
yeah, that's a good point.
I grew up in New Kensington, so like we lived in a neighborhood where the houses were pretty close together, and trick-or-treating never started until dark. Like it's not like it is now where kids are going out at 4:00.
Yeah, it's lame.
Yeah, it is lame now, but it might have been like 7:30, 8:00. Like sun was just like finishing going down, and we go out trick-or-treating up and down the streets. Me and my little sister.
Now, did your mother dress up whenever she took you out?
She might have once or twice, but that wasn't like her typical thing.
Yeah, my mother didn't dress up really whenever we went out either, but
you know what my fondest memories are of Halloween as a kid?
What are they?
So I grew up in New Kensington, and we lived in this like corner house, and we had like not like a finished basement, but it was like decent. Like my parents would have parties down there, like our birthday parties and all that stuff. There was a bar. So when I was a kid, I always had like Halloween themed birthday parties because my birthday is in October. And
damn, that's awesome. Mine was in summer and it sucked.
We always had Halloween themed birthday parties, and everybody dressed up in costumes.
Leave your phone alone.
I am.
I could hear it banging around. Jesus.
So everybody would dress up in costumes, and like my cousins would come over and all that. And my mom always had like a Halloween themed cake, like a graveyard looking thing, and she probably got from like Shop and Save, but it was the best.
Those were your favorite memories, is having.
Oh my God, yeah.
That would be awesome because like you had the best of both worlds. Like you had the Halloween theme, and then you also got gifts.
Oh, it was the best.
Yeah,
it's like what Christmas should be.
Yeah, my birthday was at the end of June, and it's just like it's hot.
Ugh.
There ain't really nothing going on. It was a drag kind of. Did your school let you dress up whenever it was Halloween, like in elementary school and stuff?
I think so.
I remember the few years that they did. I remember once I was Curly from the Goosebumps. It's like you remember that? Curly? It's a skeleton head with like a mohawk. He had like glasses. Yep. He was like a biker or something like that. Remember that thing? And I remember I was Chucky one year. I won a Halloween competition with that, McKee Sports costume competition, because I did look like Chucky, but I don't think kids are allowed to do that. Did you have red hair
at the time?
No, my mother spray painted my hair. I don't think that are kids even allowed to do that now? Like wear masks and shit to school?
Probably not.
I doubt it. I think it's super lame that it's that all the trick or treating is done in the daylight now.
Yeah.
I think it takes away from it. But then again, if you think about it, nighttime you can't really see costumes too much. So
no, but to me it's not as fun. Like
it's definitely not as fun.
When you're trick or treating at nighttime, you might walk by somebody in a scary costume and be like a little bit freaked out about it when you're a kid, you know?
Yeah.
And like that's what I always liked. Like I wanted to be scared. I've always I love being scared. It's so fun.
Yeah. So when was it? Do you remember the first time you went to a haunted house?
No, but I remember going to like haunted hay rides in Plum all the time.
Yeah. And your mother always took you there.
Always. And like one of the weirdest memories that sticks out to me, it was almost like an out of body experience. Like I can see exactly what was happening. My mom made us go on this haunted hayride, and I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I might have been like maybe 6. She was throwing me into the wolves. And, you know, you're going through the haunted hayride, and people are jumping up on the side of it and like coming in the hayride. And I'm sitting there crying like hysterically because I'm so scared.
Yeah.
And like one of the actors like sits down beside me and is like trying to comfort me because like I'm like screaming, crying, like so scared.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
What were you most afraid of back then? I was always scared of the chainsaw guy and Michael Myers.
See, Michael Myers, yeah, it still scares me. But I don't know. It was just like anything that came out of the dark, like that you weren't expecting.
Yeah, I get that. But I mean, like, was there like something
chainsaws, you know, my dad like works in the yard all the time. Like that never scared me.
Yeah, but I mean,
some
like,
people, but
it scared the fuck out of me. My dad
but
worked in the yard too.
But you know they're not going to hurt you.
Yeah, but
do you know that? I don't know.
you know that them people that are jumping around aren't going to hurt you either. But you know, there's still something about some guy popping out of nowhere with a chainsaw, just like revving that up.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I thought it was cool because like whenever I was younger, my mother took us to all different places. Like I remember going to Station Scare. Was whenever
my mom didn't want to take us down there. She thought we'd be too scared.
Station Scare was terrifying.
Yeah,
they had
heard
like
that.
3. I remember they had 3 different haunted houses in there. One was like a zombie one. I can't remember what the other 2 were.
Didn't they have one on the Gateway Clipper?
Yeah,
my mom went to that years.
I never went to that thing. I don't know. I don't even understand how that would even work.
I don't know. I think it was just like on the boat on the inside somehow. I don't know.
I'm not fucking with that.
They don't do it anymore.
Yeah, the haunted houses, like the Station Scare was real cool. I remember going to Phantoms in the Park was one of them. I can't remember where that was.
Yeah,
I think that was
I feel like I've heard of that.
Yeah, Phantoms in the Park might have been I don't know if it was in South Park or what. But I remember the one right at the end of the haunted house. I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. We're about to be done. And then it was just a big ass field and like 9 people came out with chainsaws and I saw my life flash before my eyes. But my mother always took us to places. Like me and my brother would always go and, you know, we were always just, you know, like my mother was real cool. She never shied us away from, I guess that's the wrong way to say it. Like she didn't care if we watched R-rated movies.
Yeah.
You know, like we were watching horror movies and shit whenever we were younger. I remember because my brother is older. I remember one time walking upstairs whenever I had to maybe be 10, 9 years old, 8 years old. And Halloween, he was watching Halloween with his girlfriend and one of his friends. And I just remember hearing that, and I just remember
And ever
going,
since
nope.
then, you're just like,
Yeah, Michael Myers always used to freak me out.
Yeah.
Just because of that noise. But
yeah, like every time that song comes on, you know he's coming. So.
yeah, super, super weird. A new Michael Myers is going to be coming out. New Halloween, October 19th. Real excited for that. We're going to go see that. What was also cool is being scared of haunted houses. Whenever I was real young, I was always fascinated by how they were ran. I was always real into working at one. I always wanted to work at one. So whenever I was younger,
I never wanted to, and I still don't want to. I'd be afraid
to work at a haunted house.
Yeah.
It's the best thing. It was literally the funnest thing I've ever done in my life. So the first time I ever worked at one at Boy Scouts, we ran a haunted house in downtown McKeesport, right next to that Coney Island in downtown McKeesport. For anyone knows where that is. Super, super just weird and random. It was in this ran down building, but people built up this haunted house, and we would go down there, and I probably had to be maybe 13, 14, and we would just be in there just running around the whole time, a bunch of young ass kids scaring people. And then high school, we had this club called Interact, which was like a volunteer club. You just volunteered for a bunch of different shit. And during October, we volunteered at 100 Acres Manor. And that was super
really?
cool. Yeah, it was real fun. Just because
I didn't know you volunteered there.
Yeah, I volunteered there.
Did they do your makeup and everything for you?
Well, I mean,
Or
I
did
always
you just
had
dress up in or wear a mask or something?
Well, every year it was always a big deal. It was almost like getting a Kennywood outfit. My mother would take me and my brother out, and we would get a Halloween outfit. So my mom would get us the whole get up. And I remember the first legit costume that I picked out was Scream. I had to be maybe I think that came out in 98. So I was probably 8 years old, but everyone and their mother was fucking Scream that year. I just remember I wanted to be
That's how young you were when you volunteered at
No.
100 Acres Manor?
I'm just saying whenever every year we would get a Halloween costume. So every year we would get a different costume. So we had even in my parents' attic right now,
you accumulated this stuff
we had
so you could use whatever.
much shit. I had robes, vampire fangs, cloaks, all these masks. One year my brother was the mask from
because your mother's a hoarder.
Yeah.
She keeps everything.
I mean, why not keep masks? But
I guess.
the one year for Halloween, my brother bought this suit from Salvation Army that was this yellow type, disco, or not disco, but a tweed suit or something like that.
Okay.
But he was Jim Carrey in the mask. He had this red mask or this green mask, and he had the whole hat, get up, and everything.
Yeah.
So I remember we had that mask. I remember we had this real weird looking werewolf vampire type mask that my brother had one time. And then I remember whenever I was super young, I never really picked scary things. I remember I was Darth Maul one year because I was into Star Wars. You know who that is, Darth Maul?
No.
Never mind, babe. But what else was I for Halloween that I had this monk one year that was this fucked up monk costume that was real creepy. That was always my favorite thing ever to do. Back whenever Spencer's would turn their whole place into a Halloween store, and they would have masks lined on all the shelves. I don't know why, but I loved all that stuff.
Yeah. Spencer's didn't really have women's scary stuff like that. It was always something real sexy, so I never went there.
What do you mean women's stuff?
Women's Halloween stuff. They didn't, or girls' Halloween stuff. I wasn't going into Spencer's to get some nurse costume when I was a kid,
Yeah, it's
they didn't
because
really have,
you weren't a stripper.
Right.
Even now, it's that's all that there are. Just
Oh yeah, even at the big Halloween stores, that's mostly what it is.
What was your favorite costume you ever wore? Not whenever even you were young, but your entire life. What was your favorite costume?
Right after Amy Winehouse died when I was a freshman in high school, I was Dead Amy Winehouse.
Oh yeah,
that was a good one.
Dead Amy Winehouse.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wore this red top and I think a skirt or something, and I wrote her tattoo that she has on her collarbone It was for her boyfriend, husband. I think boyfriend. I don't know if it was her husband.
Yeah.
I think it said like property of Blake or something like that. And I like made myself look all dead and had the whole beehive thing going on. Yeah, that was a good costume.
That was your favorite?
I don't know that it was like my favorite, but it was a good one.
Yeah. Mine,
remember when I was a strawberry?
I do remember that. You
That
were a
was a surprise.
strawberry
That was
one year.
funny.
That was funny. That was for Dylan's Halloween party. I just enjoy Halloween like all together. I think it has, it's a mix with everything, with the weather, the leaves. I love Halloween movies, like all the horror movies and everything.
It's the best time of year. I don't want anybody to try to tell me that Christmas or summer is better than Halloween. It's not.
I mean, I'm into Christmas too. I like
I'm
that.
not.
I know you don't like Christmas, and I think it's weird.
I don't.
Did you always watch horror movies whenever you were younger?
Yeah, but like my mom didn't let us watch like the rated R stuff or anything. But
Like you guys watched like different stuff than I did. You guys
Yeah.
were watching like Twilight Zone and shit, right?
oh yeah, like we were watching Twilight Zone. We were watching like Stephen King movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you kind of exposed me to a lot of stuff that I didn't watch. Like I was
what?
real late to, like I watched The Shining with you the first time.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I don't know why I never seen that. I was always more into like the slasher type movies. Like we watched
See,
like
I never liked the slasher stuff. I liked like the
psychological.
or like make you jump, like ghosts. I love everything about ghosts.
See, I remember watching like Michael Myers and Halloween, like Jason, Freddy, vampire movies I was real into. Like vampires and zombies were my favorite things ever. And
I've never even watched Friday the 13th. Never.
I mean, you could take it or leave it. It's
Yeah.
cool with the nostalgia
Yeah.
of it, but you know, it's just like everything else. My favorite slasher movie of all time was like Scream, and I just got into debate.
Which I never saw until I saw it with you, and I really didn't see like the big hype. To me, that would be like a nostalgia thing.
Scream?
Yeah. I
How
thought
do
it
you-
was kind of cheesy
Why do you think that?
because it was like almost like a comedy offset kind of thing.
There's comic relief in all horror movies.
Not all.
Not all horror movies, but a lot of them.
That one, I just didn't.
See, the reason
I
I
could really
thought
care less about ever seeing it again.
that's good. We're probably going to watch it later. The reason I liked it is because it's the most realistic. You know, like people could kill
guess.
Michael Myers 100 times. Freddy Krueger could come at you and he could be gone
But
100
it was
times.
a slasher movie where, spoiler alert if you've never seen it, it wasn't it the boyfriend or whatever at the end?
Yeah,
Okay, so,
Billy Salt
okay. I feel like it's the boyfriend in a lot of shit.
and Stu. Yeah, but it's the most realistic.
It's a serial killer thing.
Exactly. And it's weird because that's the shit in high school. Like, people were fucking crazy. People get crazy over women. And I guess boyfriends too. But, you know, I think another reason that I've been thinking about that I liked it so much is because it wasn't too scary. Because there were some movies back then that, like, fucked me up that I couldn't watch. Like, you know, Halloween really, really, like, messed me up. And I remember, you know what else was weird that messed me up, surprisingly, was The Faculty. No idea why I was so
I think we
scared
tried
of that.
to watch that once when we first started dating, but we were making out, so we never watched it.
I think so, too. We should watch that later. That's a good movie, but, like, I don't know why I was so freaked out about that. Movie's about, like, little alien things, but, you know, they...
Oh, I like alien stuff, too.
yeah, like
I love Alien.
Signs.
Oh, Signs is hands down one of the best movies.
Yeah, Signs is probably... Signs is
I like
definitely
M.
in,
Night
like...
Shyamalan, too. He has some spooky ones.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, there's movies that people dislike that he made. Like, The Sixth Sense is incredible.
People didn't like The Village,
Yeah.
but I really liked The Village.
I didn't like it at first because I was like, you know what? These fucking people were just lying to everyone. But now in the world we're living in, you know,
The
I
shit
watched...
could really go on. You don't know.
Well, that, but like, you know, I rewatched it like 4 years ago. Maybe not 4, but maybe like 3 years ago. And it's just like, for people that watched it that many years ago that disliked it, you should try to watch it again because like the story of it's pretty wild.
Right.
You know, like the gist of it is they created their own, like, it was almost like I don't know, like a olden time feel, but it was like in present day.
Right.
People thought that was dumb, but I thought it was good. M. Night Shyamalan also made The Happening, which was the worst movie of all time.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I think I've seen the beginning of it. My mom was like, it's stupid. Don't even watch it.
It's plants. Plants are just killing you. And it's pretty
stupid.
dumb. They made it look real good because, like, I just remember, like, in the trailer, it was just, like, a scene facing up at the top of a building.
Didn't somebody get, like, sucked up into the sky or something like that?
Not at all. It was just people jumping off, not jumping, but just, like, walking off of a building. And I just remember thinking, like, oh, shit, that looks pretty good. But then everyone was like, that's trash.
Yeah, like, that was the best scene of the movie that they put in the trailer.
Yeah. And, other movies that I think that were terrifying to me were, like, the Paranormal Activity movies. Like, I don't fuck with ghosts. Like, the slasher shit.
I love ghosts.
Yeah, but, like, the slasher shit.
You know why? Because I've never experienced or seen a ghost, but I really believe in it, and I want it to be real.
Oh, yeah?
Because I want to believe all these people who say that they've had all of these paranormal experiences. And, like, how can you believe them if you've never experienced it yourself?
Yeah, I guess so. I think that I would rather not see a ghost and just,
I would like to see one.
Oh, yeah?
I just want to see one.
Yeah, you could see it by yourself because I don't want them in my house.
I'm not saying that I want them to be in my house, but I'd like to go somewhere where people see things and, like, be somebody that can tell the story.
Yeah, I guess. I think that I would just be way too scared. But the Halloween...
How do you know you've never seen a ghost? You don't know. What if you've seen somebody who was a ghost, but you thought they were real? I don't know.
I guess that that's a possibility.
Have you ever had any strange encounters with people before?
I mean, I see you every day. Oh, it was a good joke. Another thing I wanted to bring up on this podcast. So basically, this podcast for people who are listening to is just I just wanted to talk about, like, all the nostalgic shit that I loved about Halloween. Like, me and you went to Salem for our honeymoon. I wanted to talk about what that was like. I thought that was, one of the best trips that we've ever...
It was like going to the Mecca.
It really was. It was a little bit touristy. Like,
especially because we were there in October.
Yeah, but I feel like if you didn't go there in October, you wouldn't have the same appreciation for it.
Agreed, yeah.
Because, like, it would just be like a regular town. But if you go to Salem in October, it's like the entire month of October. There's literally haunted houses open all day. Like, they open at like 11 a.m.
Yeah, and you just go to it.
Yeah, and, like, there's people that are dressed up just walking around the streets, and there's just decorations everywhere. It's kind of like Halloween Town, but not as done up, which would definitely be cool.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, like, there's shit to do.
Like that.
Yeah, it's and that was really awesome. I enjoyed going there. We saw some cool stuff, like the witch, like all the historical shit about the witches. We went into, like, the witch house, which is supposedly the only building that still
it was like the last house that
still had the original structure from back then.
And I think they've renovated it over time a bit, but, like...
Yeah, they definitely did. They built
I think it was the last house connected to the witch trials.
Yeah, that still had actual pieces of it. Like, it's not like they ripped it all the way down and then redid it completely.
But not every house in Salem was connected to the witch trials. But there were a lot of old houses dated back to, like, the 1700s.
Yeah, and they were all really awesome looking. Because they all had those, like,
plaques on the thing with the date that it was built. It's a very historic town.
Yeah, and, like, that was definitely...
And they make it very... What really, like, stood out to me was how apparent they make it, like, this is not necessarily strictly about witchcraft, like the tours and, all the different things that make you want to come to Salem, but they really try to teach, like, tolerance, because the townspeople thought that these women were different or outsiders or what have you, they put them on trial and killed them because of what they thought, not because of any proof that they had. Do you remember them talking about that? And
the
tours, like, it was all about tolerance. Like, that's what they tried to teach you on the tours.
Yeah, I mean, it was also just like, I think people think that, whenever people hear of Salem and like the witch trials, they think of like people burning witches at the stake.
But that's not always how it happened.
No, it wasn't at all how it happened. The time that people were getting burned at the stake, they said, was over like in Europe somewhere.
Oh yeah.
In Salem, they weren't burned.
No, but they were tortured.
Yeah, I think people were hung and people were crushed.
What did they call that?
What do you mean?
There was a word for it.
I don't know. What the hell was that guy's name that said more weight?
Yeah. One of the people that they put on trial. Was there more than one man on trial?
I think there was a man and a woman, but I guess the whole thing is if someone accused you of being, weird or having like witch powers or whatever,
it was game over. I mean, all they had to say was they're a witch, and then they were on trial.
Yeah, they were immediately on trial. So like after that, what would happen is if you were on trial for being a witch, you would either have to admit that you were a witch and be killed, or you could deny it and just be tortured for so it was either you die immediately or you prolong your death on straight like morals, like not conforming to what they were saying. But the guy's name is Giles Corey, so this dude was a bad motherfucker. They accused him for being a witch, and he was the only person who was just like
nope,
I'm not a witch. And they were just like, I mean, bro, just say you're a witch and we'll just kill you quick.
Is that how they said it?
Yeah, and he was just like, nah. And they were like, you sure you're not a witch? And he was like, ain't. And so what they did was they dug this like 3-foot trench. And this seriously...
What was that called? I need to know what it was called. I'm going to look it up while you're talking.
Okay. So the coolest thing about this was they dug this like 3-foot trench. And this dude, Giles Corey, was like this older guy. And what they did was they laid him down on the ground and they put a board on top of him. And they were putting boulders on top of this board. And every time they'd put a boulder on this board, they would be like, confess to being a witch or whatever, however they would say it back then. And all this dude would do was look at them and say, more weight. Like, fuck you, put some more weight on there. I ain't scared. And that shit is so sick to me. Giles Corey, bad motherfucker. He just kept saying more weight.
Execution by pressing.
Pressing.
Yeah, because, didn't they put like wood on him first and then...
Yeah, board. I literally just said it. Board, and then they would just put rocks on him, and he just kept saying more weight until he eventually succumbed to the weight. And, like...
I was trying to see how much weight they put on him, but I don't know if...
A whole hell of a lot. A whole ton. But...
this was in 1692, so who knows?
1692. Yeah, it was definitely cool because I always thought that, the witches got burned at the stake, but...
That's not the case.
Yeah, that wasn't true at all.
They also said, like, some people were buried a few feet deep, and they were in quarters that were, like, just a few feet wide, and they would have to stand there. Remember hearing that story, too?
I don't know if I remember that.
People were tortured that way. I don't know if, like... that was connected to the witch trials or not, but they said just like a few feet below. Remember we were on that tour and we stopped and looked at like a grate in the ground, and the lady was like, oh, this is where they would put people and they would only be allowed a few inches of movement, like, and they would just stand there and die.
Yeah,
because they couldn't move, they couldn't breathe, they couldn't eat.
Shit's definitely wild.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Back then there was just like no rights, and it was just super crazy. And
it was a free for all.
Yeah, it was just like a powerful time, like walking around and like learning about all this shit. We got to we flew into Salem, got there probably like I think like 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. and then walked around and chilled for a little bit, got to see some shit. And then that night we took a haunted tour or whatever it was called. Yeah. And so it was nighttime, and this girl just like pretty much walked us around the town and was just like kind of giving us the historical facts about it and saying like, yeah, like people weren't burned alive. This is what happened, and this is what happened. And this right
she
here.
told us a lot of stories of like, you know, different figures that people see and like the cemetery walking around at night. And
Yeah, it was super wild to
all
walk into
kinds of stuff.
cemeteries with
It
like
was-
headstones from like the
tell me-
1600s.
Tell me that you didn't have like a chill down your spine
Yeah, for
when
sure.
you were walking around that town at night. Like it definitely has like a feel to it.
Yeah, it got a
like
creepy vibe for
Yeah.
sure. I don't know. It was just definitely a wild time. It was, like I said,
I
it was,
loved it.
It was
I had so
definitely
much fun.
touristy, but like, I mean, why wouldn't you assume it was? Another awesome part that was there was, you know, we saw where they filmed the town hall dance in Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was super cool.
We didn't get to see where
The Dennisons lived.
Dennison House was, but that was nearby.
Yeah, that was nearby, I think. It was just a good trip out there. I really enjoyed it. And now we're back here. It's October. It's not October yet. It's about to be, and shit's about to start popping off. We haven't been to any haunted attractions yet.
No, not yet. I think some stuff started last weekend, but it was still too hot. Like I wasn't ready for that. I needed to be cold to go to a haunted house.
Yeah, I feel like it takes away from the haunted house
Yeah.
experience if it's like hot as shit.
And even a couple weeks ago, the sun wasn't down, you know, early yet. And
What's your favorite place around here to go?
probably Scare House.
Yeah, Scare House is legit.
It really is. And like, they're really good at changing it up every year to where they have different themes. Like 100 Acres Manor does it a little bit, but they don't change that much. I mean, it's a huge attraction.
Yeah.
So that would be really tough to change.
Yeah, for sure. Scare House is cool because like they incorporate different shit like Krampus. Like,
That was the best when they did Krampus and Trick or Treat.
yeah,
was the
before
best.
Krampus came out, they had that was it before it came out? I think it was.
It was before.
It was
Yep.
before Krampus came out. They had this section cuz like in haunted houses, you'll go through like, you know, the one that looks like a butcher shop and like the one that looks like a regular fucking house and then the one like the clown part. And then they had this one that was just Krampus. For anyone who doesn't know what Krampus is, it's like the real story of, you know, Saint Nick or something like that.
No, it was, I don't know if it was a Norwegian folklore.
Yeah.
It was some type of like Eastern European folklore.
Yeah, it's like
where
their
they-
version of Saint Nick.
Right. Like if you were bad, this guy was going to come for you instead of
Yeah,
Santa giving you
just
gifts.
like The
And he was,
Office.
yeah, just like,
Dwight.
yeah, but what is his name? Belschnickel.
Yeah, the Belschnickel.
Just like the Belschnickel. He'll come and like beat you with a thing and he'll snatch you up and then you'll never be seen again. And in the home country of this folklore, I cannot remember for the life of me where it was, but they have parades, like Krampus parades,
Yeah.
where a few people dress up as Krampus, walk through the parade, and they will literally pick up your kid and scare the living shit out of them.
Yeah.
That's kind of fucked up. Like, don't you agree?
I guess.
Would you let your, like, some fucking crazy ass dude just pick up your kid and, like,
Yeah, because then
then they'll be scared? They'll be good.
Well, that, but I mean, then you turn out like how we are. Yeah, I feel like the only reason we are how we are
we were
is
scared
because
straight.
yeah, our parents like threw us into it, kind of like, you know, haunted houses. Some parents like
But
coddle.
Krampus isn't a haunted house thing. Like, it's not a,
It was
it's a
definitely
Christmas thing.
Yeah, it was a Christmas thing, but it was in the haunted house. So like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, it was almost like, you know, there's a couple movies that are, you know, you don't know if they're Christmas or if they're Halloween themed. Like Nightmare Before Christmas. What is it? Christmas or Halloween?
Yeah, Gremlins.
What,
Christmas or
but
Halloween.
what would you say it was? Nightmare Before Christmas? Christmas
never
or
saw it.
Halloween? What?
Never saw it.
The Nightmare Before Christmas.
No, never seen it.
Anyway,
Which is weird because I love Tim Burton.
yeah, like I feel like
Like
that's
Beetlejuice
bullshit.
is probably one of my faves of all time.
I feel like it's bullshit that you never seen it. Yeah, Gremlins. That's probably my favorite. That's in my top
Christmas
3.
Halloween crossover.
Yeah, Christmas Halloween
good one.
crossover. That one, Krampus.
You know what I really liked in Scare House that they did with Krampus was like at the beginning, whenever you're moving into the Krampus portion of the haunted house, it looked like a porch.
Yeah.
Like you were walking into this house. Like,
Yeah, it looked
that's
like a
what
movie
it felt
set.
like.
It's
It looked like a movie set, and you walked in, and there was a big giant fireplace, and then like some kind of scary thing was coming out of the chimney, and like it was wild. They did a
because
great
in the
job
movie,
with
Krampus like had that hook down the chimney, and he
Yeah.
grabbed that fat kid.
Yeah, and sucked him back up.
Yeah, and like that movie, I remember seeing previews for that movie, thinking like, "Oh, this is gonna be dumb. Like, I'm never gonna watch this." And then we watched it, and it was actually so good.
And
It
then
was
they
like
moved it into like the trick or treat.
Yeah,
theme.
but before that, do you remember they had that? It was a room with all. It was a circular room with all them doors.
Yeah, and I was running around like a psycho trying to figure out which friggin' door to go into.
Yeah, Trick or Treat was definitely good too. I really liked that movie. It's so basically Trick or Treat is just like all the Halloween, like, you know, what would you call that? Like the legends or the
Yeah, there was a lot of the legends,
the
but it
Halloween
was a lot of
traditions.
like overlapping stories. Like everything was connected,
Yeah,
which
definitely
was really
wild.
cool.
What else was there in that haunted house? Like I enjoy going into haunted houses. Like I really love them. I don't like spending $40 to go into one for 3 minutes. But I mean,
I always see those memes right around this time that say like, if I spend $40, I better die in
Yeah.
this fucking haunted house.
yeah. So like we always go every year. We try to hit as many haunted houses as we can. One
And
of
then
the
we
coolest,
go broke by Christmas.
yeah. One of the coolest ones we went to was the Mansfield Penitentiary in Ohio. I took Antonette there for her birthday one year, and the Mansfield Penitentiary is where they filmed Shawshank Redemption, and it was, you know, it's this big ass prison, and it's supposedly like real haunted, but there is a legit haunted house up in there, and it was pretty sick. Like they have like you walk down pitch black through these like wings of the jail, so like you're looking to your left and right, and you see like actual like cells and shit like that.
Yeah, and then there was actors hiding in the cells
Yeah.
and stuff.
So like that's the only part about whenever I worked in haunted houses that like I didn't enjoy. Like, you know, I liked scaring people,
Hiding
but
in the dark by yourself.
I hated it. I fucking
See, that's
hated
why
it.
I said I would be too scared to do it.
So the Boy Scouts that we were in, we did all kinds of shit. So like
You need to slow down, first of all, because you didn't even talk about the psychic that you took me to before we went to the Mansfield Penitentiary.
Go ahead, explain what happened there.
So it was my birthday, and like I knew that we were going to Mansfield, but when we got to the haunted house, we got there like kind of early. It was still light out, and Chad's like, "Well, I have a surprise for you," and I was like, "Well, what is it?" He was like, "Well, I got these last minute tickets, and I mean, it's like a dinner and a show kind of thing. Like, we got in so last minute, we're not getting dinner, but it's a show." And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So we go in, and there's only maybe 30 people there total.
Yeah, it was just like his big ass ballroom, and
It
like
was
we
this
were all
big-ass
lined
room.
around the walls.
Yeah, inside of the penitentiary. And there was a psychic medium there, and she was like walking around the room trying to get some vibes off of people and like try to connect them with their loved ones.
Yeah.
And of course she came across me, and I immediately and I don't know if this stuff is real or not, because like I said, I've never experienced it, but she could see someone around me, and she assumed that it was my grandmother, and then I just like lost it crying. That was wild.
That ain't what happened. So what
That
happened
is
is
what happened.
no, it ain't. So she walked up and she said, you know, like half of these people that are mediums and shit like that, they use
How do you
like,
know?
I mean, it's pretty, you know, she didn't convince me. I'm not that like, you know, I'm not like a huge skeptic, but I definitely went in there as a skeptic. And she was like, she went up to Antonette and she was like, "Is there someone in your life that passed away that loved to bake?" And Antonette was like, "Oh my God," you know, you know, like just literally just said, "Is there someone that loved to bake?" And Antonette was like, "Oh my God, yeah, my grandma." And she was like, "Oh, she's here," and you know, I'm just like, here we go.
I think
Antonette,
the reason that I cried and like kind of got emotional about that was not because I necessarily believe that what she was saying was true, but she said something about like she's watching over you and she's very proud of who you've become. And who you're becoming. And I think that just hit me.
That's understandable for sure.
Yeah, because like that's what I want to think of.
Yeah, you hope for that to be the truth.
Not necessarily that I believe that my grandma was right there,
Yeah. So like she came to me and, I was hoping that she was going to say some shit about my grandfather. But like, I was definitely kind of a skeptic. But she looked at me and she was like, is there someone in your life that's stubborn? And I was like, yep. And I immediately was thinking of my brother, but she
said very hard-headed. You're like, yep.
Yeah, very hard-headed, but like they kind of feed off of like this could be possible. People say that they
try to keep a poker face, so she couldn't feed off.
Yeah, people try to like feed off of like your mannerisms and like the way you react to certain things. So I was trying to play it stone cold. I was just trying to like be real about it. But then after she went around to other people, the only thing that freaked me out was she walked right up to this random ass dude. He was like that, he looked like just a regular run-of-the-mill big dad. Like this dude was bald. He was just big. He looked like a regular dude. She looked at him and said, your son says he misses you. And this dude immediately started breaking down. And I was like, what the fuck? And she was
remember that, yeah.
She was talking about, she was like, She said to him, and she said, it was instant. I didn't suffer. And I was like,
Jeez, that hit me. I was crying after that.
Yeah, and she was talking, I guess this lady's son died in a car wreck, and like they were scared that he didn't die immediately, and he went through some sort of suffering. But like she said this, and I was like, geez, like that kind of.
And maybe she does have some sort of ability, but doesn't connect everyone.
Yeah.
Like how are you going to go around a room of 30 people and connect something with all 30 of them? Like that to me doesn't feel like it's real.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, who knows if a shit is real, but
like when Teresa Caputo goes to her shows or whatever, she picks a couple people out of the audience and she's like,
are you talking about that Jersey Shore lady?
Yeah.
Ain't.
You don't think she's real?
Are you kidding me? Are you serious? You really think that lady is real? That is, Siri just turned on because I said serious. Doesn't work whenever I'm in my fucking car though, whenever I need it. But, yeah, Teresa Caputo, the Long Island medium. Oh yeah, it's real. It's real. That's the shit that you and my mother watch. It's just sickening.
I really don't watch that stuff.
You did, because I never have, and you definitely know about it. But we went through this. We went through that haunted house, and it was so sick because, like, Shawshank Redemption is like probably. I mean, it's probably my favorite movie of all time. And
we found out later that the cells area was not filmed there.
Yeah, it sucks because like you learn they were like not a lot of it was filmed here. A lot of like the outside footage was filmed there, but like a lot of the inside shit was just like on a movie set, which is you should. I mean that's to be assumed. But I was naive in thinking like this was all here. But then we went and traveled around the town of Mansfield, and that was super cool because like we saw where
a lot of the movie was filmed around town too.
Yeah, like Brooks, the old guy that had the crow Jake. Whenever he got out of jail, there was a bench that he was sitting at feeding the birds, where he was like, "Sometimes I just wish Jake would come back and say hello or whatever." And there's this big ass bench there that has like it says Brooks was here, or it says something about like the movie, like this is an official movie scene of where they filmed something. Then there was the hotel right down the road where he hung himself in the movie. That was pretty cool to see all that shit. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It was a nice little town. Everybody was super friendly.
Yeah, then we went to that brewery. What was it called? Phoenix?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, so this brewery
gave us like a private tour.
It was, I guess they just opened up. It was a funeral home. And
wild.
Yeah, it was super wild. It was like a funeral home that they redid into like it was like a microbrewery, and we went in there just happened to be like as soon as it opened, and we were just chilling there and talking to the bartender, and he was just like, "You want to see where everything's brewed downstairs?" And we were like, "Yeah." And took us downstairs and showed us like the big ass where they have all the different brews going, and like he explained like
So where like the morgue was and everything when it was
Yeah.
the funeral home.
that shit was definitely cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that for sure.
And of course we were eating it up because it was October and shit.
Yeah, October, around where these haunted houses were, talking about all this shit, like that was definitely fun. I enjoy that for sure. I enjoy everything about Halloween, really.
Oh, I love it. And I love doing that stuff with you because it's always a good time.
Yeah, because I'm always a good time. What is your favorite type of? How do I want to word it? Like my shit whenever I would watch the movies was like vampires and zombies. You said your shit was
Wishes
ghosts.
and ghosts.
Witches and ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
You have some favorite Halloween movies?
Practical Magic is like my number one.
Practical Magic, about the witches.
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock, Nicole Kidman.
Can't even beat it. They look like $1 million in that movie too.
I mean, Sandra Bullock still looks good.
Yeah, I know.
That was a really good movie. I enjoyed that movie.
I wouldn't say that's necessarily Halloween themed, but
I mean, it's about witches and
Yeah.
shit, so it's kind of like that. I did enjoy that though. That was good. What else?
I don't know because there are so many ghost movies that like have stupid endings that I don't really care about. So that makes it not a good movie to me. But like I always like
Give me an example.
I don't know. Like I never cared that much about Paranormal Activity. Like it was okay,
Oh my god!
but I thought it was kind of corny.
I slept with
it was-
every light on.
I know cuz you don't see what it is.
Yeah, and that's
So
what was
that
fucking
scares
weird
the fuck
about
out
it.
of you, yeah. But I always thought that Haunting in Connecticut was a good one. Remember that one? That scared the fuck
Haunting
out of me for a
Connecticut.
while.
I don't know if I remember watching that.
That was a really good one. I thought maybe my mom has it on DVD or something.
Yeah, I don't think I watched that one.
That was a good one because it was about a funeral home and it was just wild. I don't really like stuff where people get possessed. I think it's kind of corny.
You think possession is corny?
I don't know how much it's real. I don't know.
I don't know about all
Do you
that.
believe in that? Do you believe in possession?
I mean, if you believe in ghosts, I feel like possession is the same level of
Why?
believing.
But why would a ghost want to possess a human body?
I mean, you ever see The Conjuring?
Yeah, that's kind of corny too.
The Conjuring?
Yeah.
You're fucking insane.
Yeah, me and you went to see it, remember? And I'll never forget, we first started dating when that movie come out, like a few months. And you saw like an advertisement for that movie on TV. You kept telling your mom, I ain't seeing that. I ain't seeing that. And then we started dating and I was like, I want to go see that. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, it's because
Hilarious.
guys do dumbass shit for girls.
That's right.
It's really not fair at all. Like how guys have to just kill spiders. They're just assumed that
That's your role in our relationship.
yeah, that's stupid. I don't agree with that at all. So our house, we live in Ingram Township, if anyone knows where that is, but like
It's Ingram Borough.
whatever the hell it's called, splitting hairs. Like we were talking about before, Halloween and shit is not, it's not the night or the day before Halloween at nighttime.
Especially because we live so close to the city, so they don't really want kids to be out in the dark and stuff.
Plus we live on a main road, but
Yeah.
it's our house gets so insane for Halloween. Like we have probably like
And we did not expect that. Like we never knew that went on.
The first year that we were here for Halloween, we didn't give out candy the first year we were here. I can't remember what we did. We were
We
somewhere
were out
else.
of town, I think.
Yeah, I think we were out of town. But the next year, we were like, I trick or treating was like my favorite thing in the world whenever I was younger. Like going around with your friends, dressed up, going to get candy, and like getting your loot, coming back to your house, everyone dumping it out, and then like trading off what you don't like, what you do like. That was like, that was my favorite time. So I always like wanted to, even whenever I was younger, I was like, whenever I get older, I'm definitely going to hand out like good ass candy because like, if you hand out some ratchet ass shit like a popcorn ball, Like that's how you get your name on the list of houses that get egged and
See,
shit.
I liked popcorn balls.
Yeah, that's super weird.
My mom always made them though. You know what she always did for Halloween was she would get like those clear plastic like gloves.
Yeah.
And put little candy corns like the fingernails, and then put popcorn in the rest of it, and it looked like a monster hand. She always did that.
You like
it was cute. That was always a party favors at my Halloween birthdays.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like candy corn?
Yeah, I still like it, but only the pumpkin ones.
Ugh, that's terrible. What was your favorite Halloween candy? I guess
it
not.
used to be
Halloween.
like Twix. I used to love Twix, and I don't really care about it.
What's your
I
favorite
used to
now?
like dig through the thing for Twix. What's my favorite now?
Yeah.
Reese's Cups.
I'll allow a Reese's cup, but
Yeah.
I like the a Reese's cup has to be frozen. I love a frozen.
It does not need to be frozen.
I want a frozen Reese's cup. My shit was Kit Kats.
Oh yeah, Kit Kats.
Kit Kats and Three Musketeers were my favorite back in the day, but now I don't fuck with a Three Musketeer.
Is that the one that's all nougat or whatever?
I don't know. It's like a fluffy chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even good at all. But Kit Kats were my shit. I used to.
Well, then Milky Way is nougat and caramel.
Yeah,
Right.
I never cared for Milky Ways either. I don't know. Halloween was always wild because, we lived on a big ass hill, but we always had, a shit ton of people coming to our house for Halloween, and we always
We
used
used to walk over to Oakmont and get all the good shit.
Yeah, from the rich people.
Yeah.
The people that we knew where we lived, like where the good houses were.
Yeah.
And, we got pretty serious into it a lot of years. Like one time I remember my dad built this like life-size guillotine, and it was super wild. Our whole house was just like covered in Halloween shit. Like we went all out. My dad had this big guillotine in the front yard. He always carved pumpkins with us. And like he's real good at all that shit, so he would always make these wild ass looking pumpkins and like always do all this cool shit. But up in Haler Heights, there was a couple families right up on top of the hill that like would like have dummies out. I remember they would put like dummies.
They have like animatronic stuff. Ever?
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
and they would have like dummies that were like hanging from the ceiling or hanging from their roof and shit like that.
Yeah, that's pissed.
Yeah, that was always a really awesome time. Like
Yeah.
I just loved all of it. It was all awesome. Yeah, that was a good
Speaking
time.
of carving pumpkins, you want to touch on our engagement a few years back?
Sure, explain what I did.
So, pretty much every year we go to Kennywood Fright Night. And, I don't know, the one night, it was like a Friday night. What was this, 2 years ago? 3 years ago? 3.
3 years ago.
So it was like-
4 years ago.
No, it was 3.
3 years ago.
Yeah. So, he's like, oh, Friday night, let's go down to Kennywood Fright Night. He had a buddy who used to work there, so I was like, sure. He's like, oh, yeah, he got us tickets. We're going to, like, go get some, like, food or something. I'm like, okay, I'll go. Well, the night comes around, and I'm just like, I really just have no desire to go. Like, it's going to be packed. It's a nice night out. Like, Kennywood's just going to be a mess. Like, I don't even want to do it. Got to drive through rush hour traffic to get there. I call him. I'm like, Chad, do we even have to go to Kennywood tonight? I'm like, can we go another night? He's like, well, I mean, just come. Like, we already got the tickets. Like, just come out. I'm like, okay. Get on the parkway, stuck in traffic forever. Finally get there, and Chad's already in the park. And I don't really understand why he was already in the park, because I was like, come out and give me my ticket. Like, I got to get in somehow. So finally he takes me in, and we're walking. He's like, oh, we're going to go get some corn dogs. And here's me thinking, I'm super pumped to get a corn dog. And then he pulls me aside, and we're like in the middle of the park near the Sky Coaster where there's like a stage. And then I look, and all of a sudden I start seeing like different family members and then a couple of our friends. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Then he goes, surprise, happy birthday. It's your birthday party. And I'm like, okay. That's weird. I don't know why everybody's at Kennywood for my birthday. And then before I even can consider why people are there, I turn around and Chad's standing on the stage and there's a bunch of pumpkins carved out. Will you marry me? And I was just like in shock. Like I didn't even know like what to think. Like what were you thinking in that moment? Like you just like threw me in it. Like I was not ready for.
What do you mean? What was I thinking?
I don't know.
I had that.
Were you nervous?
Fuck no. I
You weren't
knew
nervous?
Not at all. The most thing I was nervous about was having you not be in a shitty ass mood because you got hit with traffic and you called me. So I'd say like 2 or 3 weeks after we started, maybe like 2 months after we started dating, I told one of your friends that I was going to propose to you using pumpkins and I was going to spell out, will you marry me? And after I figured out that I was going to, take the leap, I hit up the people from, I hit up Nick Paradise, who runs the HR or HR or PR. I hit up Nick Paradise from Kennywood and I was like, yo, dude, I want to ask my girlfriend to marry me at your park during Fright Night. We love Halloween. Would you help me out with that?
And they're like, oh, yeah, it's free publicity. Yeah, absolutely.
He was like, absolutely, dude. He was like, let me know exactly what you want to do. So this guy hooked me up with a big-ass stage, like right where they have like all the lumberjack shit and everything. And I knew that I wanted to ask you with pumpkins. So I went with my dad and Brian Skagline, another alumni of I'll Call You Right Back podcast. He is...
I think Brian was the most pumped about the proposal.
Yeah,
he couldn't be more pumped.
Brian was pumped for sure. Brian was pumped before. He's one of my, he's one of my oldest friends.
Yeah, and I've, ever since I met him, we all got along so well.
Exactly, like he'll always be in there. So like Brian also makes fantastic videos and shit like that too. So he's filming this the whole time.
Brian for making the best engagement video.
Yeah, Brian, like whenever he's pumped about something, he like dives into it 100%. So he filmed this video. We went, we picked up a shitload of pumpkins. I can't remember where we bought them. I think maybe Aldi's. But we bought all these pumpkins. We went back to my house, and me and my dad and him were on my back porch, and we carved out, will you marry me in pumpkins? And the most thing that I was worried about was having them pumpkins still be intact because they were all like carved out letters. They had to be big enough for you to be able to see that from a distance.
And you could absolutely see it from a distance. Like it was
it's because they were but all the pumpkins like we couldn't have like in like huge pumpkins.
Too time consuming.
Yeah, too time consuming. So we had to find good sizes to be able to do that all in one day because you couldn't carve them out and then like have them like have them just sitting around for a while because I couldn't have that stage for more than like one day. So he gave me this stage. I went there early in the daytime, which was super cool because I got to go to Kennywood before it was opened. So we got like the behind the scenes treatment. Got to drive my truck back into Kennywood right next to the merry-go-round and shit, which was so awesome to see. And I bought a bunch of hay bales and got all these pumpkins ready. And we went there, got this stage. I put all these hay bales out. We lined up all these pumpkins. I got these candles and got the PA system set up. And all that was good, ready to go. I had people ready to take photos and videos and everything like that. And I told all of our family that it was your surprise birthday party. I was like, I have like the pavilion at Kennywood. We're just going to go there and have some food and shit like that. And I told you that I got free tickets to some, I forget what I lied to you about, but I told you that they were free tickets. Yeah,
you just told me they were free because
there was
buddy
a dinner.
Josh used to work there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, like, we got these tickets, and there's, like, a dinner, and we're just going to go eat and then go ride stuff.
Yeah, so, like, this all tied in together because our first date was at Kennywood, okay? And then...
Our first date was not at Kennywood.
Well, not at Kennywood, but,
whenever you asked me to be your girlfriend was at Kennywood.
Yeah, the first time I asked you to be my girlfriend was at Kennywood. And my wife. So, we had to do that both there, but... Josh worked there, and Josh, it was like Adventureland. He took us behind the scenes.
It was wild.
Yeah, it was so sick. So, like, the first, the date you're going to ask your girl to be your girlfriend, like he took us all around like the behind the scenes at Kennywood. So that was really awesome. So I figured, you know, like what better place to do it than Kennywood, because it's going to be like a haunted house too. So we went there. I had everything set up. I told everyone else that it was going to be like a surprise birthday party. And I had everyone show up there. You know, I didn't tell your mom or anything yet. And like whenever I went up to go get your mom and your dad, because it was whenever your dad got that surgery and he was in that wheelchair.
Yeah.
I told your mom, I was like, Mary Lynn, this isn't for your daughter's birthday. I'm going to ask her to marry me tonight. And, you know, she was pumped. Everyone was pumped. So I had everyone set up by these stages. And then I was like, all right, so where are you at? You were late. I called you. I was like, babe, where are you at? And you were like, I'm in traffic. Do we even have to go to this tonight? I'll just give you money for tickets so we don't have to go. And I thought you were really going to be like, nah, I ain't coming. So I was just super nervous about that. And another thing that threw me off is I had the ring in my pocket, but I ran out to go get you. And I didn't want to go through the metal detector and have the ring go off because you were right behind me. So
Rings don't go off.
Well, I didn't know that. I wasn't thinking that far ahead, but I told the cop, there was a cop right there, and I was like, dude, I'm marrying my girl. I'm going to ask my girlfriend to marry tonight. Hold this. I don't want it to go off through the metal detector. So I grabbed you. You were in a pissy mood. And then, you know,
I was hangry
in a pissy ass mood. So we walked down and you were like, can we just go ride or anything? I was like, no, we just got to go over here. We'll go over here first. We'll just go over here. So we're walking and then we go over there and you see everyone. And I was like, oh, happy birthday. And then turned around and then me and John pulled that tarp off and it said, will you marry me? And then we had Frankie Valli playing.
Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah, and it was, everything turned out to be
perfect.
Yeah, seriously perfect. It was really awesome. But
my friends are forever mad at you because you didn't tell them the truth.
Yeah,
about what was happening because they both bailed.
Yeah,
they were like, we're not coming.
Yeah, they thought it was just going to be like, you know, show up to Kennywood together and say happy birthday. But I wasn't going to tell your fucking friends that I was going to propose to you because who knows?
Afraid of big mouths.
Yeah, because we all know that a couple surprises got ruined.
A proposal.
Yeah, because
marriage proposal.
Things wouldn't be good between me and them.
I know.
But yeah, it turned out to be fucking awesome. And then, you know, everything we've ever done is pretty much like kind of around like, you know, Halloween type shit. You know, I love it.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't even care about the rest of the year. I don't.
Yeah, it's like every year we're just like, as soon as it rolls over, it's like in Nightmare Before Christmas, 364 more days until Halloween.
Yeah.
But, you know, I love it. It's fun to do all this shit with you.
I love it too.
Yeah. We got to start going to some haunted houses. I
know, because we're going to Cleveland in a few weeks, so we should see what they got going on up there.
Yeah. Remember
that haunted house that we went to, like not too far from my mom's house?
Deer Lake?
Yeah.
West Deer?
West Deer. And like, it just scared the living shit out of us.
Yeah.
And it was so simple.
It was all young kids that were in like I think it was for something like an Interact type group, but they had this, it was just a big ass pavilion.
Yeah.
That they built a haunted house under, and like there was maybe like, you know, 15 people working in it, and it was all young kids, but it was so good because it was all so suspenseful.
Right, because like it wasn't all dressed up with a bunch of like decorations. It was just like you walked into a pitch black room that had a TV with like static on it.
Yeah.
And somebody's sitting in a rocking chair looking at it. And like, what the fuck?
Super weird.
And then, do you remember that girl?
Yeah. So
coming out, go ahead and explain that.
There was like this, this was like, there was like a piece of luggage that was like leaned up against this wall. And I guess it was like, you know, attached to this wall. And while you walk by, this girl, I don't know, she was doing like a back bend.
She like fell out of it backwards.
Yeah.
And then did like.
No, she just crawled out of it backwards at you. But,
and then crawled across the floor.
Yeah, it was like super wild.
On her doing like a back bend. It was crazy.
It was wild.
It scared the shit out of me. Because she walked right in front of us. Like.
We love Halloween. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing I wanted to talk about on this podcast. Is we're kicking off this month with you know, I got a bunch of good stuff coming up, a bunch of big guests, and I think everyone will be really pumped about it. But you know, I had to have my wife on to talk about being married for a year and talk about our trip to Salem and how fun that was and why we love Halloween so much. And I don't know, babe. I appreciate you coming on.
You're welcome.
You have fun?
Not that interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, you're interesting. We're gonna pop off an interesting month full of guests.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it all. So my whole idea for Desert Island questions is, I mean, you've already done your Desert Island questions though, but
yeah,
I'm gonna
we do it on this one.
We're not gonna do it on this one, but I just want you to pick your 3 favorite horror movies.
Didn't we already kind of do that? Why don't you pick yours first and I'll think about it.
My 3 favorite horror movies? I don't know. I didn't really think about it. No one really asked me.
Yeah, but I always turn the tables around.
Yeah. My 3 favorite horror movies, honestly, I love the remake of Dawn of the Dead. I will always love that with Ving Rhames, and that's my favorite zombie movie, I think. I also love the remake of Night of the Living Dead, the color version of it. I thought that was awesome. Other horror movies, like I love the Halloweens. I love all the Rob Zombie, Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand Corpses. Those are all awesome.
All the slasher stuff. I'm not into that.
I like the gory type stuff.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch that stuff over like, ghosts and shit. Ghosts are a little bit too much for me. I just don't want to fuck with that.
It was a really good one, and I guess I'll consider one of my Desert Island. Did you ever see White Noise with Michael Keaton?
Yes, I
That
have.
was scary as fuck.
Yeah, that was a good movie. That was.
So
I haven't seen
scary.
that in a long time.
Watch it again because it's terrifying.
Yeah, Michael Keaton, the man.
It was really scary. I don't know of any other ones that like scare the shit out of me.
That's all right. All right, babe.
All right.
We're wrapping this up.
Let's wrap it.
Wrap it. I appreciate everyone listening as usual. This was a different type of an episode. We already learned about Antonette, but wanted to talk about some Halloween shit, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Follow me on social media at I'll Call You Right Back, on Instagram at ICYRB Podcast, on Twitter. I'll Call You Right Back on Facebook, YouTube, anywhere you look, it's I'll Call You Right Back. I'll call you right back at gmail.com. Give me some suggestions of who you'd like on here. Some things that you like that I do, some things you dislike. Call me a piece of shit, whatever you want to do. I appreciate it though, and I'll call you right back.